Hey guys, I thought I would do an Ask Me Anything video. I actually put out an Instagram stories asking you to write in any and all questions that you have for me. And let me pull up my archives here because I did this a couple days ago. Wow. Okay. Thank you guys for writing in. All right. First one is, have the quote unquote, why don't you have kids questions finally stopped now that you're older? Yeah. They have stopped. They have stopped. What has taken its place, not as much as that question, but what has taken its place is, do you regret not having children? No, I don't. I don't regret. And I am glad they have finally stopped because it's so invasive. And while for me, it was just a choice, I just have never wanted kids. It's just never been my thing. I think there are a lot of people who don't have kids and it's a painful topic for them. So for any of you out there watching, do not ask people about why they don't have children or when are you going to have children or anything like that. It can be a really, really painful topic for a lot of people. I have some friends where they've tried a lot of different things. They've gone down a lot of different paths to become parents and it just didn't work out for them. And it's a sensitive topic. It's a sensitive topic for a lot of people or some women who just cannot. I know I have a couple of friends who had hysterectomies when they were very young. And while they're fine and they're over it, it's still just, it's very invasive and it's a very none of your business question. Anyway, yes, I'm glad they stopped. And I really, I don't know why we even have to talk about this with other women. And I think it happens a lot with families. It's very generational. Moms pressuring their daughters, dads, parents pressuring their daughters, grandparents, aunts, uncles, when are you gonna have kids? Or it's I don't know, one of those things that it's maybe to fill up dead space at a family function, something. But I feel can we just not talk about that? Let's just not talk about that because we don't know everyone's situation and how painful it can be. So anyway, totally off topic, but yes, the questions have definitely stopped fully, full stop, thank God. The next question is, are you still enjoying living in Vegas? I enjoy living in Vegas. Yes, I still do. I miss New York. I miss New York a lot. I have talked about this in the past, and I feel like I haven't fully explained why, but when I say, and in the past this is what I've said, it's the people that is very different between not only New York and Las Vegas, but I feel like the Northeast and the West over here, Vegas, LA, Arizona, it's just a very, very different vibe. And while yes, I still hold true to that, that's not really the reason why I miss New York. It could be, and I'm kind of honing in on this, and I've been talking to my friends about this more and more. I think it's because New York is an urban environment and what I'm living here in Las Vegas is a suburban lifestyle. And I think it's very, very hard to make lasting, meaningful connections in the suburbs. Everyone is basically siloed. And maybe it was my age, when I was living in New York, but you were always just out and about. You weren't just hanging out in your apartment. And it would be this constant, texting oh, what are you up to? I'm down in Soho. Oh, I'm in the West Village. Let me come down and meet you. Let's grab ice cream. Whatever it is. You were just kind of always out and about. I never knew where the day was going to take me, and I loved that. I didn't know who I'd be meeting up. I didn't know who I'd be running into. And I really miss that. I miss that lifestyle of just being out and about. I do that a little bit here, on the Strip, but kind of being out and about inside a casino it's very different than being out and about on the streets of New York. So yeah, so I do miss that, but I enjoy living in Vegas. It's just a very different lifestyle, and I can definitely see the pros living in either place, and the pros living here in Vegas. I do very much enjoy car culture. While I don't know that it'll ever be my preference, it is very convenient for sure. I can definitely see why people like driving everywhere instead of schlepping by foot or subway or whatever. Absolutely. Especially when you want to run like quick errands, for sure. I like the space that I have here in Vegas, but I also can recognize it's like, no matter how much space you have, you're gonna fill it up. And I was perfectly happy in New York with 1,000 square feet. I'm perfectly happy, same level of happiness here in Vegas with more square foot, a lot more square footage. I just have more crap. So, you know, it's like, I appreciate the comfort and the ease of living in Las Vegas, but I also know it's very, very superficial. And one thing I will say about Vegas that is great, I don't enjoy the warm weather, but what I really, really, really appreciate about Vegas is how consistent the weather is. Like, I don't have to check the weather app every day. It just gets warmer towards July and August, and then it gets cooler. You know, it just is a very, very constant cycle, where in New York and most other places, the temperature fluctuates a lot from day to day, from season to season, from morning to night. Like, you just never know. You're constantly checking your app, updating it, because it can change also on a whim. Where here it doesn't. It's just... Wow. So my husband's doing the laundry and the spin cycle just started, and it's on the other side of this wall, and it just started shaking all of the cabinets. Anyway, spin cycle is over. I am back. I have completely lost my train of thought, but I think I was answering if I'm still enjoying living in Vegas, and I'm sure I went off on a tangent, but the short answer is yes. I am still enjoying living in Vegas, but I do miss living in New York also. And, oh, this is not a question, but a comment. We miss Laura. I miss Laura. I miss her too. I do follow her often, and she is on TikTok. I'll link her TikTok down below. She is hysterical. So if you want to follow her on TikTok, she posts a couple times a day. So you can see her plenty over there. Give her a follow, give her a hello from me. And I'm going to be seeing her probably in November, which sounds so far off, but you know, Laura's part of this big girl group. There's 5 of us, and we just got together in Savannah, and we get together every year, at least every year, all of us. And we've decided we're going to do it more than once a year now, because my friends who have kids, their kids are older, it's a little bit easier. So we're going to get together in November also, which I'm really, really excited for. Okay, next question. Do you keep track of all your makeup and skincare products? And if so, how? I don't. I do not keep track of all of my makeup and skincare products. I really tried. I gave it the old college try, you know, to at least keep track of like when I was getting stuff, especially with skincare, you know, so I knew whether or not things were going off, if I should very quickly, like, you know, donate them or whatever before they go off. It's just overwhelming. As you guys know, I get a lot of PR, which I'm so grateful for, but it's a lot of stuff. And so I try and very quickly determine like, okay, am I going to get to this? Am I not? And I just try and donate whatever I think I'm just not going to use or get around to using. I just donate that or give it to friends and family or whatever. The makeup I'll hold on to a little bit longer, because I'm like, I don't know, maybe I'll use it for trying a new makeup video, or down the road if I need like a specific type of product, you know, whatever. So anyway, there's just a lot of product floating around, and I wish I had some sort of, I don't know, some way to keep track of it quickly, because if I were to even like do a quick spreadsheet of everything, or even like sit there with my phone, and I think you can scan stuff and it can add to your inventory. Just that alone would add so much time. And then for me to go through, I wouldn't go through it. I don't think I'd go through it. So anyway, I don't keep track of all of my makeup and skincare, and it's overwhelming. It's very, very overwhelming. Do you have any video that you regret having done and one that you regret not having done? Let me think. I think this isn't necessarily a video that I regret doing, but this was way back when I first started my channel, and Pat McGrath had just come out with her Mothership palettes. So I'm not sure how long I'd been doing YouTube, maybe a couple years. And so still fresh, you know, still trying to figure stuff out. And I did swatches, and you know, in the Mothership palettes, they were different finishes, and then they had those 4 bake shadows. Anyway, my swatches were crap. They were total crap, but I didn't realize like how, you know, you got to get in there and you got to press down really hard to get a nice, clear swatch of the product. I was just kind of like tapping, doing this. And I was like still dealing with like, you know, is this camera okay? So I couldn't really see what was going on. And I was at the point in YouTube where it was like, just put it up. Just see what happens. Just put it up. I didn't know what kind of videos did well. I had no idea what I was doing. Still kind of have no idea what I'm doing. But I just put that video up and I got so many comments, which I think, I mean, that video should still be up and those comments should still be up. Maybe I deleted them. I'm not sure because some were kind of nasty, but just like your swatches suck basically. So I kind of regret not, because I kind of knew. It was like, I was editing it. I was like, oh, you can't really like see that shadow. But again, I was just like, you know what? Just put it up, see what happens. Well, I kind of regret putting it up because you know, it was even before I think I was even doing any kind of like B-roll. And I don't know, or maybe that was like my first video of actually doing B-roll. So I didn't have great lighting, whatever. Anyway, it was, I don't know, not embarrassing, but yeah, I do regret like not just spending a little bit more time and maybe doing those swatches again. I don't know why that comes to me, but that video comes to me. And any video I regret not having done. I mean, there's some videos that I would like to do, so I can do them. So they're not a regret yet, but there are some videos that, I don't know, I just, not that I talk myself out of it, but I'm sure you guys do the same thing where you just like think about something and then it grows, it grows, it grows in your mind. And then all of a sudden it's just too big to tackle. And I feel that way a lot about videos pertaining to like fashion, you know, because I do like fashion hauls here, whatever. And those are, you know, easy, shall we say, just put on the clothing, give you my first impressions. It's fine. But I'm talking about like, I don't know, like a review of a runway show or styling or, you know, stuff like that. And I'm like, whoa, like I just get like, oh, I should mention this. And then it just turns into a big thing. And I have all these notes and I'm like, okay, no, I'm not, let me not make that video. And then I think, okay, I need to like hone it a little bit and like taper it down and really focus on something. And then I never really get to it. So not a regret yet, but probably soon if I don't get to it, if I don't get to these fashion videos. Oh, this is a two-parter. Okay. How do you navigate and keep friendships over the years? As a child-free 35-year-old, I'm losing friends left and right due to motherhood. How did you do it all these years? It's tough. It's really tough. I mean, you know, whether or not my friend has had children or not, it is just tough. Because you both have to make the effort to see each other, to keep in contact. And, you know, motherhood, especially if they're young mothers, no, that's wrong. Mothers of young children, it is very, very difficult for them to actually make time. They probably are even having a hard time finding time to like shower or do things for themselves. Let alone, you know, take care of another human being. So, you know, I do remember when my friends were just having kids and I'll never forget, I had, it wasn't even a text because it was before then, but it was like a phone call with a friend of mine who I am still in touch with. And she was like, I can meet you at 1:20, but I have to leave by 1:45. And she had 2 small children and I had to meet her at this corner. It was like she was, I think, picking one child up and whatever. She was basically between like 2 errands and she had like that little bit of downtime. So I met her. And I think as someone without children, you end up feeling like you're sacrificing a little bit more. But it is, I mean, that's just the bottom line. It is easier for us to like make time in our schedule. And so I always felt like, well, if I can make the time, like if they can make the time, I can make the time. I'll go and I'll meet her, whatever, for those 20, 25 minutes or whatever it was. I'm pretty sure it was 1:20 to 1:45. I mean, this was so long ago. I should remind her of that. It's hard. It's hard, and it does take an effort. And, you know, sometimes I feel like I'm reaching out more. Sometimes I feel like, you know, my friend is constantly contacting me and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to, you know, reply to her. So it balanced, you know, in the grand scheme of things, I think it does balance out. But I think probably for a little while, you're going to feel like you're the one giving a little bit more. But I think your friends will appreciate it because it's hard. It's hard for moms to not only make time, to have enough time for their kids, but then to make time for themselves, to make time for their partner if they have a partner in their life. And then I'm sure they have family obligations. And then once you have a kid, then you have like the kids' friends and then their friends' families. And then, you know, and it is also inevitable that you will grow apart, and that's just life. But hopefully you'll be able to hold on to a few meaningful relationships, but it is difficult. I do get it. Okay. Hi, Michelle. Have you noticed weight gain or water retention from creatine? I don't know. I don't know because I definitely am getting a little bit thicker in the midsection. I've always carried my weight there. But when I was really like tuned in, I want to say last summer, my stomach was, you know, kind of getting like flatter or whatever, you know, which I was happy about. And then last November, I started HRT and I started taking more creatine. That's supposed to be good for brain fog, amongst other things. And so I don't know what it is. I also have not been as dialed in to my diet and training as I was. So I think it's a lot of things. It could be the creatine, but I'm not sure. I mean, it's also not surprising. Creatine helps your muscles bring water in, which is what you want. You definitely want. So with that being said, if you are taking creatine, you definitely want to make sure you're drinking enough water. I always try and drink a gallon of water a day. And I think if you're a healthy person without any, you know, issues or whatever, I think a gallon of water is fine. So yeah, that would be my recommendation. But at least with creatine, I can't imagine your body wouldn't adjust to it. I don't think you're going to see, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I think if there is any water retention, I think it's going to be very negligible, very, very negligible. I don't think it's going to be something where you're like, oh my God, like my pants don't fit anymore. I don't think you're going to see that from just taking some creatine. I don't think so. Okay, next. Most rewarding thing about doing YouTube as a career. Most rewarding. I would have to say, what do I have to say? I would have to say it's a few things. I think being able to work for yourself, which is sort of bigger than just YouTube, but being able to work for yourself has been rewarding. The career that I had before YouTube as a hand knitwear designer was when I started working for myself, which was what I was doing when I left corporate America. And it's endlessly gratifying to be able to not only do what you want to do during the day, but to create your own schedule and to work really, really hard and to see the direct effects of that. Because when you're working in a corporate environment and you're, you know, a W-2 employee and you're getting a paycheck, you can work your ass off on a project, let's say, or busy period, and your paycheck is the same. I mean, the same goes for during a slow period, you know, or you can take vacation and you still get that same paycheck. That's pretty cool. But it's really gratifying to work really hard and to see not just the monetary reward for that, but for example, if I do a video that does really, really well, of course, yes, I get more AdSense. I probably get more commission in the affiliate links of any products that maybe I mentioned. But I love seeing comments from people that I haven't seen comment before. Like, you know, if a video does well on YouTube, they feed it out to more people. So it's really nice to see that, you know, to see like a direct correlation between working really hard for something and seeing its effect. I think that's really, really gratifying for me, really rewarding. And being able to make your own schedule is so, so great. I mean, and I don't know if this is, you know, a misconception for you guys out there, but you will never work as hard as you will working for yourself. And so being able to schedule it on my own terms is really is really, really nice. So actually, while I'm kind of working this out in my head, I'm not sure if this is actually rewarding or just like one of the best things about YouTube / working for yourself is I can say, okay, I'm going away next week and I really don't want to work while I'm going away, while I'm, on vacation or whatever. So I know I need to get everything done before then. And so I'll put in 14, 16-hour days before then, but then I'll be able to have, 4 or 5 days off in a row, which is really, really nice to not have to like worry about anything. And to be in control of that schedule is really nice. It is very, I think it's a perk. I mean, those 14, 16-hour days suck. But then to be able to say like, okay, like my business is still running, but I'm not doing anything right now is really, really nice. That is definitely one of the best things about this job, about working for yourself. Ooh, I like this question. Favorite cheat meal? It is, let me break it down. It is a cheeseburger, fries, and mac and cheese. I mean, specifically, like I could definitely do Five Guys, their burger and fries, and like mac and cheese. Like I'm fine with like Kraft mac and cheese, like the box mac and cheese. I'll eat that. That's totally fine. But it has to be the powder. I don't like the Velveeta mac and cheese with the cream in that foil pack. That kind of grosses me out. It grosses me out more than the powder cheese. How's that? But yeah, I love cheese. And I love just like really greasy, really, really greasy food. Like a really greasy burger and really greasy fries. Oh, yes. Yes. It's so funny. I have a pretty sensitive stomach, and the one meal that will inevitably always cause me, shall we say, gastric discomfort is salmon, lentils, and spinach. That combination for me is deadly. Yet, if I have like a Five Guys burger and fries, totally fine. My stomach is settled. Not one issue, not one inkling of discomfort. And my husband always thinks that's so funny. Like if I have a stomach ache, he's like, do we need to go to Five Guys? I'm like, shut up. Ooh, this is a good one. What's your passion these days? What is my passion these days? Gosh. The first thing that comes to mind is travel. I really, the travel bug has really bitten me. I never traveled growing up. My parents, the most we did was take like a couple car trips. We just didn't have the money for it. And so we would camp every once in a while. I think the furthest we ever went was to Tennessee for World's Fair. This was like in 1984. And we drove down in a car that had no air conditioning. It was the summertime. I was like, well, that's not happening again. I mean, I was a child and I was 11 in 1984, if that's when it was. And I was like, oh no, we're not doing that again. So anyway, never traveled as a child. And my first international trip was in college. I went to London towards the end of my freshman year. So I was 18 years old. And because I had never traveled a lot, I was kind of unfamiliar with jet lag. And so I kind of slept that whole trip. I mean, just awful. I kind of slept that whole trip and just, I was in college. And so it was like going out at night. I didn't know where to go, whatever. Anyway, so that was kind of a wasted trip. Beyond that, I really didn't travel up until a few years ago. Yeah, just a few years ago in 2023, or no, I should say in 2019, I went to Japan. That was life-changing. And the travel bug bit me then. And I started to plan trips and imagine like, where else can I go? Like, what else is out there? And then COVID hit. And then in 2022, is it? Oh my gosh. Or was it 2023? Anyway, I went to like Morocco. My husband and I went to Paris for the first time. So anyway, it's just recently that I started traveling. And you guys know I travel quite a bit now because I love it. I love it. I would say that is absolutely my passion now. It's once you kind of break that seal, pretty much with like smartphones now, it's just so easy to travel. I was always very, very nervous about traveling. I'm not good with languages. And even like if I go to a foreign country and they speak English to me, it takes me a while to tune into the accent. So I'm just And I'm very like discombobulated or whatever when I'm traveling. So I've always been very nervous to travel, but with smartphones, it's so easy. It's so you can like translate on the phone. There's maps, itineraries, like whatever you want to do, make reservations wherever you want to go. Like it's so easy. And so, yeah, I think I've really, really just become very passionate about trying to go to wherever I can. Wherever I can while I still can. Oh, here's a nice comment. Just want to say you're so inspiring and I'd love to meet you one day for coffee. Oh, I feel like I would love to do a meetup one day. If you're interested in a meetup, please let me know down below. I have that kind of fear that like no one would show up. So, but I think that would be awesome. Any advice for a woman turned 30? Oh, happy 30th. Should I buy property, invest, enjoy this period without kids? Yeah, I would say, gosh, 30. I can't even remember 30. 30. Okay. I would say, well, I think it depends on what kind of person you are. If you want to travel and you want to stay kind of like footloose and fancy free, I would not buy anything property wise. I would continue renting, wouldn't have children. I would, try and gain as much life experience as you can. But if you're someone that has kind of like an agenda, let's say, like you're someone that really likes structure and you really like building upon things, because I'm not that person, but I have plenty of friends like that. They live a great life. That's their thing. Then yeah, I would buy a property, settle down, start thinking about having kids. I know 30 just sounds so young, but if you want to have kids, I would say start thinking about that. Start thinking about that seriously. And always invest. I do feel like, and I just had a conversation with some of my friends, that I feel like the idea of the American dream, and I'm sorry, I don't know if you are American, the idea of the American dream is changing. It's always been, even for my generation, I don't feel like I'm that old, it's always been, buy a house, have 2 kids, have a steady job, retire when you're 65, and then, I don't know, take an around the world cruise. That's always kind of been the American dream. And I think it's changed a lot. I mean, I know for me and people around my age, the idea of staying at one job for your entire life is unheard of. I mean, that's absurd. I have like maybe 2 or 3 friends that I know of that have had the same job that they've had since they left college. But it's so rare now, where for my parents, that was pretty normal. And the whole buying the house thing, like, yeah, that's still normal for my generation. But I talk to anyone who's like any younger than I am. That's just not, it's not like a given or like this, like the number one goal anymore is like to buy a house. I just don't hear that anymore. So I think you just need to make sure you are investing in whatever it is you feel comfortable. Some people just don't feel comfortable in the stock market. Maybe you want to do something a little bit more conservative, but I would say kind of spread it out a little bit. You may even want to think about just simply investing in some businesses. If there's some indie businesses, you may want to reach out and say, are you looking for investors? Real estate is always kind of solid if you want to think about that in terms of an investment and not just like part of the American dream. I mean, that's something you could think about. But yeah, I mean, for someone without kids, it's like it's definitely financially, there's a lot more flexibility, a lot less pressure, a little bit more freedom there. So I would just, kind of like follow like your gut there, follow it a little bit. But I would definitely say, like, make your own rules in regards to that. That's, I guess, my point in saying, like, the whole American dream is kind of being redefined. It's just sort of like write your own rules. And there's nothing that's right or wrong. Just, like, live your own life. Do your thing and what you're comfortable with. And try not to succumb to, like, peer pressure. Or not even peer pressure, but, like, familial pressure. There's always a lot there. Yeah, I would say, invest a little bit because you want to make sure that you feel secure. Like, whatever the amount is that makes you feel secure. And then the rest, just try and experience life. I mean, I just don't think there's anything more valuable than experiencing life, which unfortunately probably takes a little bit of money. So yeah, that's my advice at the age of 51. But gosh, 30, that was a good time. I was still just hanging out a lot. How do you feel about all the recent changes in fashion creative directors? I feel lukewarm about it. And I really wish there actually were some changes, but there aren't any changes really. I think they're just being swapped. And, you know, I would love to actually ask the fashion directors, the creative directors, like how do they feel? You know, like I think about Jonathan Anderson at Loewe, now he's going to do Dior men's. And I'm sure as a creative, as an artist, wow, like it's so great to be a part of this LVMH family and have a little bit of security. Of course, if you do well, of course, you have a little bit of security. So when your time is done in one house, then you can say, hey, I'm ready for something different, and they can swap you elsewhere. But I feel like it's also very limiting. And so I would love to hear how they feel about that. Like, you know, is is just being in this like small ecosystem, does it feel secure and they feel like they have enough creative autonomy, or do they just feel like the pressure of it and they wish they could kind of get off the hamster wheel? Because I just feel like they're just sort of like swapping big house, going to another big house, going to another big house. And I think that's probably why I love Prada. Prada is probably my favorite fashion house, but I love that she's just taken it on, and Raf has just kind of helped her, and she's really very mindfully set up this succession with Raf. And, you know, obviously I think she just turned 76. She's probably, who knows, maybe never, but probably going to retire soon, or, you know, give more and more responsibility over to him. And I think that's, you know, I think that'll be really great. It's going to be very seamless or whatever. But all of this like merry-go-rounding, it's like, okay, like I feel like when someone is plucked that is maybe not even that unexpected, but like of a different world, I think that has always been the most exciting. Like you guys know, I was so, and am still excited about Pharrell at Louis Vuitton doing the men's collections. It was like the injection of cool that they needed, and it was like a completely different perspective on everything. And if they had just grabbed, let's say they grabbed like Kim Jones off of Dior Men's and put him in LV, it just would have been like, okay, like a little bit of more of the same. And Alessandro Michele going from Gucci over to Valentino, it's just, okay, we're just going over to Valentino, and he's kind of doing the same, it's kind of the same thing. So yeah, I just wish they would actually make some change instead of doing this like weird swapping merry-go-round situation. Like I feel like I'm anticipatory about like what's going to happen with like Jonathan Anderson at Dior Men's, but I'm not excited, you know, like I am, but I'm not like, oh my, like the announcement, I was like, oh, okay. I mean, it had been rumored for so long, so it wasn't like this, like what? It was like, oh wow, okay. All right, changes. You just kind of start to imagine like, okay, what is he gonna like? Is he gonna do the hamster bag over at Dior? Like, or is he really gonna interpret like the Dior DNA? Like what's gonna happen there? But yeah, I don't know. I mean I wish they would actually make some change. Another very nice comment. You are amazing. That's so nice. That's very nice. I'm not, but thank you. Thank you. Next question. What's your diet looking like, and have you achieved your fitness/health goals? You know, I had one fitness goal, and that was to do one unassisted pull-up with a wide grip, you know, not like this, but a pull-up. And I have not been able to do that. It's okay. I'm working on it. I just bought my own pull-up bar and assistance straps. So we'll get there. We will get there. I don't know that I have any other goals per se, because a lot of what I'm doing now is just to maintain mobility, and is to maintain a certain level of health, shall we say. So, you know, if I were to think, yeah, like I would love to continue to grow more muscle. I would love to continue to see a little bit more definition, which is very difficult for me. I have a very soft look to my body, if you could not tell. Very, very soft. like a very low tone kind of body. And so it, you know, I really, really have to go hard if I wanted to see like some real like cutness in my definition. But yeah, it's just to kind of continue down this path, continue lifting weights, continue trying to get, you know, 8,000, 10,000 steps in a day. I am working on integrating sprinting in my routine, which it's sprinting, so it would not take long, but I keep forgetting, whatever. I'm not going to make any excuses. I need to integrate it into my routine so I can, you know, kind of do like a VO2 max kind of workout. And not even that often. Maybe like twice a week. That would make me happy. But my diet is, you know, it feels like a freaking part-time job or full-time job at this point. But I try and get, you know, 125, 150 grams of protein in a day. I try and get more than 25 grams of fiber in a day. I try and take my creatine and all of my supplements, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So my diet is basically about 5 meals a day, and I try to ingest at least 25, more like 30 grams of protein in each of those meals to hit my goal. And you know, the real kicker is your body doesn't process that much protein at once. So that's why you have to space it out. So it's not like, and you wouldn't want to, but it's not like you could ingest 150 grams of protein at once and reap the benefits of all 150 grams. So that's why you have to eat smaller meals. And I really, really try and focus on whole foods, at least when I'm home. So I try not to, I was in the beginning when I started working out with my trainer and like changing up the way that I eat, but I was, you know, drinking protein shakes, having a protein bar here and there. But now, because all of that, you know, it's just more processed food, I'm like, if I'm home and I have control of my diet and I'm able to fairly easily pre-make some protein, I should really eat whole protein. So that's what I focus on all day, between eggs and meat and Greek yogurt for my protein. And even Greek yogurt is, you know, is a processed food, but there's only so much meat you can eat in a day. And I try and get excited about it, and I'll like, you know, I'll stand in front of my refrigerator and I have all of these pre-made meats and I'm like, ooh, is it ground turkey or should I do the chicken breast? Maybe the ground bison? What should I do? So anyway, that's basically what my diet is looking like. I try not to focus too much on calories because I'm not in some sort of, like, I'm in just like maintenance mode. You know, I'm traveling a lot, which makes it very, very difficult to stay on your diet. But I'm kind of just in maintenance mode. Again, I'm kind of like, I'm seeing a little bit of heft in my midsection, which I just feel like whatever, it's maybe the HRT or, you know, me not paying attention to my calories or whatever. But I had decided when I started down this path that I wasn't going to freak out about every little thing. I wasn't going to weigh myself. I can't actually remember the last time I weighed myself, but I'm not going to weigh myself every day or once a week or be so reactionary to it. You know, if my pants are a little bit tight, my pants are a little bit tight. Like, I just cannot give any more mental freaking out to my diet and my weight. It's like I did 50 years of that, and now I'm just like, I'm just going to do the things that feel right, that are going to promote longevity and health, which is, you know, for me, lifting weights and eating whole foods. And that's it. So I hope that answers your question. What's your dream day in New York City? Where will you go? What will you eat, shop, and watch? I'd most definitely start out with a bagel, probably either an Essa bagel or Murray's bagel, everything bagel, scallion cream cheese, maybe lox, and if I'm feeling it. And then possibly like a pizza lunch, just crappy pizza, maybe from like St. Mark's or something. Just walk up to a window and ask for a slice, because I can't get that in Vegas. You have to buy a pie of pizza here. You can't just like roll up somewhere and grab a slice, which was just the weirdest thing. I remember walking into our local pizzeria here, and I was just like, 2 slices, and they were like, what? They were like, these are our pies. And I was like, oh. Yeah, so I'd probably grab a couple slices. And what else? Dinner? Gosh, I mean, anywhere, anywhere in New York that would have me. Dinner, I don't know. Raoul's on Prince Street. Is that still there? If it is, I need to go there when I go back to New York. But Raoul's on Prince Street, that's just old school, like French bistro. Or, my gosh, what's just like quintessentially New York? Like Gramercy Tavern. Oh my gosh, love Gramercy Tavern, can't get enough. Yeah, just like a real New York kind of place. Where would I have dessert though? That's a big question. You know where I really love? This is a little bit out of the way, but we're talking dream day. Probably Brooklyn Pharmacy. They have really, really good ice cream. It's just like scoop ice cream, but it's so dense and creamy. It's so good. Is that still there? That's so, so good. Oh, wait. You know where I would get pizza? Is Pauly G's in Greenpoint. I would take the ferry to Greenpoint and grab Pauly G's. They were doing, you know, the whole hot honey thing, like Mike's Hot Honey. They were putting hot honey on pizza like 20 years ago. They've been doing it forever. I think they're like the first ones. And then what else would I do? I'd probably go to the Met, for sure. I'd probably do a little shopping at Bergdorf, maybe down in Soho, maybe walk down, I'm trying to think, like would I prefer doing a walk in Central Park or down the West Side or somewhere over in the boroughs? I probably would prefer to walk down the West Side Highway. Yeah, like along the Hudson. I love the Hudson River. I do. I love looking out onto that river. Those are the components of my dream day in New York. And of course, meeting up with friends. Meeting up with them for all of these different meals. Yeah, that would just be the perfect day. What is your favorite piece of makeup from the last 5 years if you could only pick one thing? Oh my, this is from Penn Smith. Penn, that's really hard. Okay, since 2020, I've got a lot floating in my head. I've got some Chanel highlighters, but I think they're actually older than 5 years. I have some Chantecaille highlighters, like that collaboration they did with Degournay. I have the Tom Ford face palettes. Hold on, when did the Chantecaille Degournay collection come out? Oh, 2019. Okay, so that's longer than 5 years. God, that came out in 2019. Woof. Okay, the one makeup item that I think is like my number one pick from the last 5 years is the Chanel, the Mediterranean Quad. And I actually just showed it in my Chanel video. Sorry, I'm sucking a Jolly Rancher because my throat's dry. I showed it in my Chanel video. It had like the baked formula, the baked gel powder formula. So beautiful. So, so beautiful. Limited edition, of course. And so you can't get it anymore. But oh my God, I love, love, love that quad. And it's still in my collection. And I do very often declutter limited edition stuff because I can't really use it with you guys because you can't get it. It makes no sense for me to talk about it. But that one, they're gonna have to pry that out of my dead, cold hands. Hi, do you like anything from the TM and LV? What do you think about that collection? Is that the Murakami? I mean, I really, really appreciate Murakami. I love, his artwork, everything. I'm just not the biggest fan of the collaboration because it's a little bit too, I don't know, colorful or like cutesy. It's just not my aesthetic. Like the cherries, like cute. Like I get it. It's just not for me. It's just not for me. And like the rainbow LV monogram, not for me. Again, I get it totally. It's just not my aesthetic, really. Advice on dealing with having a never-ending luxury fashion wish list and budgeting. Well, just know this, there's always something you're gonna want down the road. So like, I don't know if that's even a comforting thought, but like when I get really excited about something and I think, oh my God, I have to have this, I love this, oh my God, I wear this all the time, I use it all the time. I think back to how many times I have felt that way about something and you get over it. You get over it. So I think experience and time will teach you that like, even though you're really excited for something, it's okay. You're gonna feel really excited and need another thing. Just give it a month. You're gonna need something else. So just don't rush into anything. I know sometimes there's that like scarcity mindset. Everything's limited edition. You can't get anything or whatever. Don't worry about it. You can get it on resale. There's the Real Reel, there's Fashion File. Like, it's definitely not important enough to like take credit out for. Absolutely not. That is, I guess, my number one piece of advice. Never, ever, ever charge. If you cannot pay cash, even if then, you know, you've paid all your bills and you've got a little bit of money left over and you deplete all of that money, is better than charging it. Just don't ever, ever go down that road of charging. Like if something's on sale and then you charge it, there's no point. There's no point in buying it on sale. So don't ever charge any luxury goods. Don't ever charge anything that's not a necessity. And just know that there's going to be stuff that you need a month from now, 2 months from now, that how you feel about this one thing that you think you need, you're going to feel about something else later on. So like, don't worry about it. If you don't have the money for it now, forget about it. They're constantly feeding us stuff that we need. So just pass. Just keep it moving. Keep it moving. Are you still journaling? I'm not. And I was actually just talking to a friend of mine because I used to do The Artist's Way. I don't know if you guys have read that book, but it's about how creatives kind of keep themselves, shall we say, like well-tuned and well-oiled. And morning pages is a big thing where you just, for 3 pages, just anything, just keep writing, just start and just keep writing, whatever's on your mind. And I remember even doing a whole 3 pages of like, I don't know what to write. But whatever it is. And so I used to do that, and I was talking to a friend of mine who's going through The Artist's Way or whatever. She's like on chapter 5. And I thought about it. Oh my gosh, I used to journal. I used to do that. I used to write, you know, gratitude stuff. I just haven't done it in a while. I have such an intense morning routine. It's so intense between like making sure I'm getting up and eating, my protein. I like to meditate. I like to work out. I need to take a walk. I need to feed Butters. I need to walk Butters. I need to get to the gym. You know, all the things. I feel like journaling has definitely fell to the wayside. So yeah, I think I need to kind of start cycling what I do in the mornings because I just don't have time for all of it. And I need to like cycle in journaling and maybe cycle out something else. The New York Times word games, I have to do those every morning. So anyway, yeah, I haven't done it in a while. Are you planning any big trips this year? If so, where and when? I am. You know, last year I did that cruise with Oceania. So it was a sponsorship. It was so wonderful. It was the very first cruise my husband and I took. And I have to admit, I was a little like, okay, we'll try this out. But I was kind of sure that it wasn't going to be for me. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved being on the cruise boat. I loved being able to see all those different ports and only having to unpack once. I loved the whole cruise ship experience. The food was great. Everyone was nice. Our room was really lovely. Anyway, long story short, Oceania has reached back out to me, and so my husband and I are going on another cruise, and it's kind of similar to the one that we took, but we went from Rome up to Trieste last year. So this coming year, we're going to go from Trieste to Athens. So we're going to start, and I think we're hitting like one or two of the same ports on the Italian side, but then we're going to be hitting these different ports. And it's a much shorter cruise. So last year, that was a 14-day cruise, which was great. I didn't even feel it. This cruise is going to be a 7 or 8 day cruise, but we're going to end up in Athens. And my husband and I decided we're going to stay a few days in Athens because, you know, we're there. And he loves like the classics. So we're going to do a whole day like sightseeing or whatever, but we're kind of staying outside of Athens along the sea. And so we just kind of want to relax. Yeah, so that's like our big trip for the summertime. We may be going far away somewhere this fall. I'm not sure. It would be for my friend Matthew's 50th. And so it's completely up to him. Wherever he wants to go, whatever he wants to do, we will join him. So that's still being worked out. So yeah, and then of course, you know, I've got some small trips. I'm going to New York in a couple weeks, and then I've got not a couple weeks. I'm going to New York in a couple days. Actually, when you see this, I will be, I think, traveling out there. I have a couple friends coming to visit me in June, and then July we're going on the cruise, and yeah, we'll just figure out where the rest of the year takes us. But so far, that cruise is our big trip, and I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get back on a cruise ship. Who would imagine? Who would have thought? Okay. Favorite powder regardless of formula and regardless of where the masses can buy, just the best. My favorite powder is the Koga No Natural Lighting Powder. I've talked about this before. It contains talc, which I know is bothersome to some people, but I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It is fantastic. It looks beautiful on my very dry skin. It makes my skin look soft and creamy. It has just the light, just a natural, beautiful kind of like sheen to it. It is gorgeous. I love that powder. My favorite. And last but not least, oh my God, this is funny. Do you ever see yourself in the mirror and think, okay, slay, and model walk away? I don't. I don't. I feel like I do a like, am I ready to be in public check when I look in the mirror. I check for eye boogers. I check for nose boogers. I check for anything around my mouth. I step back and I'm like, do I have any lint? Is this too wrinkly? You know, is like my skirt up in my underwear? Like I do that kind of a check. And that's it. That's it really. Maybe I should do that. Maybe that would be better for my mental well-being. Just like I am fierce or something. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, but no, I've never done that, but I think maybe I should. All right, guys, that's all I have time for today. Thank you so much for everyone who wrote in their questions or their comments. You guys are really, really kind. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.